Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're bringing you guys a special draft league game. This is going to be my finals matchup for the LD Invitational. For those of you that are unfamiliar with that, it's a tournament. I brought one or two games on the channel thus far, and this is actually the final battle of the tournament. This is a big spreadsheet, and I'll try and link it down below, but basically the winner of this tournament gets a little over $400, second place gets 187 or something like that, and third place and fourth place get like 65 or something like that. But this is a big deal, in part because a lot of people joined this. This was over a 200-person invitational tournament. I clawed my way through the Swiss rounds, being one of the lower seeds, but I made it through the top 32. I won the round of 32, which I believe brought on this channel, 16-8. I got really lucky in the semifinals to advance past there. I maybe made a little mistake there, but I got a little lucky. It wasn't necessarily over, but I'm fortunate to get to this point. As is my opponent. We all have had a lot of tough games against strong competitors, and here we are in the grand final, me against Sun, also known as DL Sunny in this battle. Really excited to bring this game. Overall, I drafted a team with Tornadus T, Crocodile, Slowking Galar, Rotom Wash, Sylveon, Tangela, Registeel, and Sock. In this game, I elected to drop Tangela and Registeel and bring Sock. And I stuck with my big five, which I bring in most matchups. As for my opponent, he drafted a team with Blaziken, Garchomp, Weavile, Corviknight, Vileplume, Primarina, and I believe the other two Pokemon were one second. The other two Pokemon were Audino and Raikou. So my thought about prep was that he had a couple of threatening special attackers, a couple of threatening physical attackers. So on the physical end of things, Weavile was one of the biggest threats to my team. I lost to a Sneasel in the Swiss round, actually. One of my two losses the whole tournament. And I knew that Weavile was an even bigger threat. I actually faced Weavile twice in the round of 32 and like the round of 8 or 16 already. So it was something I was really scared of. In this game, I wanted to switch up my prep. Prior to this, I brought Chople, Registeel, I brought Scarf Sock, I brought Rocky Helmet, Rotom Wash. This game, I actually brought a Scarf Intimidate Crocodile. Figured he wouldn't use Adrenaline Orb against me, and I brought an itemless Rotom Wash, and I brought an Expert Belt Pixelate Quick Attack Sylveon, which honestly is pretty dope set in my opinion. I love using physical Sylveon. I think it's funny. I knew that alone would probably be okay. I was still gonna be pressured by it, but Rotom Wash could come in clutch. As for the rest of my preparation, when it came to Garchomp, I knew Swords Dance sets were really tough, but I also knew that with my abundance of physical attackers like Sock, Crocodile, and not to mention the potential for Tornadus T to be threatening on both ends, he could run a more defensive set, but Swords Dance sets were very threatening. Because of this, I ran a physically defensive Icy Wind Tornadus T with Speedy V style run it, Scarf Intimidate Crocodile, Sturdy Sock, physically defensive Rotom Wash, and I also, my Sylveon was able to always live a +1 Adamant Earthquake from it as well. Like Intimidate means the +1 instead of +2, you know what I mean? Yeah. Overall, the idea of my team was to make progress with the Sylveon though. The Sylveon was Expert Belt. It was going to be Hyper Voice, Mystical Fire, Quick Attack, and Workup. The idea was that Quick Attack is super good against like taking out like a weakened Weavile, taking out a weakened Garchomp, and Mystical Fire with Expert Belt and Workup could really threaten the two switch-ins to Fairy types that he has in the Corviknight and Vileplume. And if he brought Audino, then I was actually really well off against it because I could just work up in his face, and that'd be great. Unfortunately, my Slowking Galar is my main progress maker this tour, but this game was kept on the defensive a ton because I had no switch-ins to Specs Primarina, so I ran a Assault Vest set, and I ran it with Side Shock plus Future Sight plus Sludge Bomb plus Flamethrower. The idea was that I was scared of a Calm Mind plus Weakness policy Primarina or a Calm Mind Raikou, so Side Shock was great in those scenarios. Flamethrower hits the Corviknight, and Future Sight in general makes it hard for him to maneuver around. It kind of forces his hand to go back to Corviknight or Weavile, and I can take advantage of those on the back foot. Crocodile again with Scarf, Rocks, Intimidate. It's really meant to revenge kill Weavile and Blaziken, Garchomp potentially as well. And Sock, last but not least, was it was Protective Pad Sturdy. I ran Close Combat, Ice Punch, and I think it was I don't actually remember, my bad. But my last move was I'm blanking, I'm sorry. My last move was Focus Punch to catch Corviknight on the Roosters, catch switch-ins, which I thought was pretty cool. I think Poison Jab was the last move, yeah, for Primarina. So yeah, that was a pretty cool set as well. didn't really come into play here. But yeah, as for the opponent, I kind of expected him to bring Raikou over Blaziken. I figured Raikou plus Primarina could overload my Slowking Galar, and that would make it really threatening in the long term, especially with like Calm Mind Adrenaline Orb. Then it could just outright sweep me if the Sturdy Sock was broken, and again, if Slowking Galar took Wear and Tear from Primarina, so that would be really cool in this part. I also thought he might run like a Poison Resist Berry, Whirlpool, Perish Song, Protect, Rest kind of Primarina set to specifically luring the Slowking Galar so you could swoop with Raikou. I was really paranoid about that, but I didn't really have much way around that without committing to beating that and running like Shed Shell and then losing to Specs and Calm Mind Primarina as well. So I figured that this was in my best interest to not key in on that one prospect there. Blaziken itself, I didn't actually prepare for one bit. I figured since it doesn't get Speed Boost in this, its Speed Boost is not banned, you can draft it regularly. It actually wasn't going to be that big a deal. I've got Sturdy Sock in the back, Tornadus T lives even a Choice Band Adamant hit, Crocodile can outrun it, and Sylveon lives any one hit, Slowking Galar lives any one hit, barring Choice Band Adamant, Flare Blitz, and Rotomosh lives any one hit and can kill. So I wasn't too worried about it, honestly. The main things I was worried about was Swords Dance Weavile and Swords Dance Garchomp. Because of that, I knew both those could be threatening, and I knew I had to really play well to keep them pressured and minimize their entry. So let's go ahead and get into the game now. I don't want to ramble too much. It's already been 6 minutes, so yeah. A lot of money. It's kind of a $225, $230 swing on this. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Right off the bat, we get going. I'm always leading my Sylveon because I figured I kind of expected the Garchomp lead from him, and also I knew an off chance he tried to lead, say, Corviknight to pivot around, I could set a work up in his face. He leads Primarina though, and Primarina, my immediate response to it always is to go to Slowking Galar. Tanks 2 Specs, Hydro Pumps, got the poison move, but he reveals Calm Mind here, and I'm like, okay, thank God I got Side Shock. I feel like it's my weakness policy. And he sets up again, it's like, yeah, he's definitely trying to bait the Sludge Bomb here. I get the Side Shock off, he Hydros, and it does 45. I Side Shock again, leave it in Torrent range. Now here's the big thing here. He's either Liquid Voice or forgets about Torrent. It would have been a roll to kill me, don't get me wrong, but I think he should go for that roll always there. And he just switches out, so I get upwards of 70% damage in Primarina in return for forcing it out, and I not only am I only taking under half, but also, while U-turn does crit, they're leaving me around the third health. I get a future setup on top of that, and I can switch out. I get my Tornadus T in here safely. Close Combat reveals its Choice Band, probably Choice Band Adamant, but it could be Jolly's in mid-roll. Either way, Corviknight comes in here, I U-turn. Yeah, Helmet is a little unfortunate, but I don't mind it at all, because I can go to my Rotom Wash here, and I can just force a burn on the very likely incoming Vileplume. If he stays in Roost, that's fine too, I don't mind burning it. But yeah, burn was pretty foolproof, he's never going to Blaze again. So that worked out nicely here. Now I go for Volt Switch here. Going forward, he's going to go Stun Spore, Sleep Powder. At this point, with the Primarina so low, I can go ahead and let the Slowking basically go, despite it being one of my most valuable Pokemon usually. That's fine. And here he goes Weavile. I'm going to double switch out to Tornadus T, knowing it's my best Pokemon for Vileplume. He gets a great play there, but he goes Knock Off, and it only does 24 to my Rotom Wash, which is huge for me. Now he goes Garchomp on the Volt Switch. A good play on his end, but it doesn't really matter that much. I figured what he'd do there was, since he's scared of the Will-O-Wisp, unless he's Swords Dance Lum, he's not going to Swords Dance, so I figured he'd either go for a Stealth Rock or Toxic type move if he has it, otherwise he'd probably double switch out to something like the Vileplume. But Sylveon was a good mid-ground there, in part because I'm at full health, he's at 60, 83, and something's already asleep. Mystical Fire is always going to 2-hit kill him, and it's going to minimize his damage output. Whereas if he stays in and goes Garchomp, he's never clicking Earthquake in the Rotom Wash. Now again, I didn't think he was Lum plus Swords Dance in that scenario. That was the one set that could have really done good damage there. Although I could have went Landers, I could have went Tornadus T, I could have Icy Wind, I could have been okay with Crocodile Revenge going it from there. But I went Sylveon. He went for a good mid round of Toxic there, which is great on his end, but this puts me in a position where I could really play my strengths here. I go Hyper Voice here, and I know right off the bat that given the damage it took from that he's not very special defensive. He might have somebody's not like maxed out, but also even if he was maxed out, my Expert Belt Modest Mystical Fire is almost always going to kill, and thankfully here I do take it out. That puts me in a good position. And now I'm up 6-5, and I didn't think he expected that. He might have expected Specs, I'm not too sure. Either way, he goes Blaze again. I know it's Choice Band. I know I always love Choice Band Adamant Flablood, though, even after burn. So I just go here, and now this is a big turn. See, I don't have Hurricane, but he doesn't know that. And he dies Hurricane, Air Slash, whatever it may be. So I know he's going to switch the Blaziken out, but I also know that at 13%, if it rounds down, which it does, I'm at like 12.2% or whatever it is, I die to Rough Skin. So if he catches me with U-turn and Garchomp, I'm dead as can be, especially his Rocky Helmet, but I'm dead in general. And given how he Toxic before, I figured it was more defensive Chomp. So I thought he was going to always go Chomp there, predicting a U-turn, knowing he could also live 2 Hurricanes and then kill me the turn after. So I Icy Wind, predicting the Garchomp. So he had Blaziken in, I bring Tornadus T in, I Icy Wind into the Blaziken, hitting the Garchomp for the 4-time super effective move, giving me a humongous advantage. And then, to add insult to injury, I know for a fact he's not going to fodder off the Garchomp. He goes Weavile, predicting that. I U-turn into the Weavile, getting that right, leaving it around half health, and bringing my Scarf Crocodile. And with that burnt Vileplume taking a little damage from Volt Switch, Corviknight being dead, Earthquake kills this, and it outruns it. And it 2-kills everything else. It kills the Blaziken, it either kills it 2-kills Garchomp, it 2-kills Vileplume, so I'm in an amazing spot now. He goes Primarina to let go of that. Thankfully for him, I'm not Moxie, but he can only really go Vileplume to try and force me out here. I go Sylveon and the Vileplume, knowing full well he's probably going to Trank Click, Stun Spore, Giga Drain. I don't mind that. I just want to Mystical Fire, minimize this damage here. So now here I'm just going to Mystical Fire, knowing Sylveon's not very useful in this scenario. I Mystical Fire here. He goes Strength Sap. That's going to heal him up a little bit. Heal him up 47%, but he's still into a KO range, and now his special attacks are getting weaker and weaker. So I predict him to switch out and go Blaziken. I Hyper Voice into the Vileplume, hitting the Blaziken, getting the kill there. And to add insult to injury for him, he brings his Weavile in, and while I am intimidated, I still get a 30% quick attack off there to leave it at 22%, which means that even like a knockoff for my Crocodile could take it out if I want to go for that. Of course, I just go for Earthquake, going to avoid the contact moves, and thankfully, that's going to be able to take out the Vileplume in 2 hits, even though he's pretty physically defensive, I'd have to guess. So yeah, now I'm up at 5-2 position at this point. He goes Garchomp. I know he could probably live in Earthquake since he's a tank set. I don't want to risk that and leave myself in Ice Shard range, because then triple axles and a couple of misses versus Rotom can get hairy. So I just go Tornadus T on the Ice and the Earthquake. I Ice Wind to kill it, and then because there's no point switching, I U-turn here. Take out the Weavile as he Swords Dances, and I'll emerge victorious 5-0. Definitely a closer game than the score could imagine, but I think I had some really good turns that distinguished my position, put me well ahead, and felt like a comfortable victory. Overall, amazing run. Huge shout out to Sun for a great run. And Rai, my semifinals opponent, who, in my opinion, had just a fair shot as winning it as I did. Sorry about last round, man. You're great. You deserve it just as much as anyone else. And yeah, thank you so much to LD for having me. Good tournament. Nice to pocket some. Although I donated my my semis winnings to the charity bowl the other day, which we raised over $2,000, by the way. Really amazing event there. But yeah, all things considered, it was a good time. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. Like, comment, subscribe.